Back in February of 1968, it was the first flag that was illuminated at night, and it was first flown at the New Bedford City Hall. And then 3 years later, it was moved to the Old Glory Tower. City halls and state houses all followed suit, and it all began right here in New Bedford. And this was all spearheaded by the late Joseph Theodore. He was a World War II veteran and a Purple Heart recipient. And he ended up writing letters to Washington, D.C., and President Nixon ended up declaring that all flags were to be flown at night, both at the White House and all ports of entry, and that was all because of Joe Theodore. Over 48 years, 553 flags were flown to honor the veterans that have served. Unfortunately, due to the deterioration of the tower in December of 2018, that was the last month that the flag was flown there. My name is Linda Ferreira, and I'm the marketing director for Empire Ford, working for the Empire Auto Group. Rick Torres, who's the owner of the Empire Auto Group, continued the tradition that had already been started by Ashley Ford when he purchased the dealership in 2018. So in 2019, Empire Ford was proud to partner with the Fort Taber Fort Rodman Military Museum, and we started to honor veterans by flying a flag at the museum from then on.
We're lucky enough to be in a position where we can give back. So whether that's, the Special Olympics in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Dana-Farber, Jimmy Fund, or sponsoring countless local police departments, fire departments, the state police. And for me, being prior service, it's also really important that we support our local military organizations as well. So we do a lot with Fort Taber, Fort Rodman, with the military museum there, honoring a veteran every month that's passed away. That's something that's always been really near and dear to my heart because my grandfather was a military veteran who fought in World War II. So it's really good to see the legacy and the memories continue to live on.
My name is Robert C. Bromley. I'm the curator and one of the last founders of the museum and memorial. New Bedford has one of the highest per capita number of veterans in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's something that you would think would be more like a Springfield, Boston at least. No, it's New Bedford. Museum is dedicated as a way to honor our veterans. We have changed the name to also be a Veterans Memorial. They will notice that this is a personal museum. This is not something that is a museum of who's who or the highest ranking person who served or if they received a high honor. This is for everybody who ever came to serve into this country. We've always said if you raise your right hand, put on a uniform and took the oath, you come into this museum.
We honored Private First Class Peter Roy of New Bedford, who was killed in action in Vietnam at the age of 18. And his family was nice enough to share letters that he wrote back home during his basic training and his pre-deployment, and it really gave you a sense of what he was experiencing at the time. And then another example is a veteran that we're honoring for the month of March, who is First Lieutenant Charles Morse Jr., who's also of New Bedford, and he was a World War II Army Air Force pilot, and he flew a total of 32 missions, flying over 300 combat hours. He passed away in 2019 at the age of 97. If you have a chance to stop by the Fort Taber Fort Rodman Military Museum, it really is amazing to see each room going from room to room, wall to wall, seeing all the veterans. It's very personalized, and you will see photos and memorabilia of people from the South Coast area. So anyone can request a veteran to be honored. The only requirement is that they have to have ties to the South Coast area, and it is done as a memorial, so the veteran will have passed at that point. Our goal is to continue the tradition of honoring these veterans so that their stories continue to live on.